It's not every time you see players leave their clubs after just one season, but we think we're going to see a lot of that next summer. The likes of Giacomo Raspadori and Noah Lang already left their clubs in the winter window despite only joining last summer, and more will follow in that path in a few months. You might think you know the reason why all these guys are leaving, but you actually don't. In this video, we will find out who these players are and why they might be leaving their clubs this summer. These are 7 summer signings who are already on their way out. We'll start with Darwin Nunez. He left Liverpool to join Al Hilal last summer in a transfer worth 53 million euros, but everything is pointing towards the Uruguayan leaving the club once the summer transfer window flings open. On the deadline day of the January window, Al Hilal went and signed Karim Benzema from Al Ittihad, taking advantage of a falling out between the club and the player. Anyway, that transfer might have been great news for the club and fans, but it was horrible news for Darwin Nunez as it forced Al Hilal to omit him from their Saudi Pro League squad due to a rule that limits the number of foreign players a club can have in their squad. It was this same rule that forced Al Hilal to leave Renan Lodi out of the league squad, which eventually led to him leaving the club in the winter window. We think the same thing will happen to Darwin Nunez in the summer. Of course, the former Benfica man was very unhappy about being left out, so it's almost certain that he'll be looking for a solution next summer. Benzema is obviously a bigger name and has already started banging in the goals, so Al Hilal themselves won't be doing too much to stop Nunez from leaving in the summer. Another striker who's most likely on his way out as well is Nick Woltemade. Last summer he joined Newcastle hoping to be their starting striker, but things have recently taken a strange turn. He is now being used in the midfield while Gordon leads the attack ahead of him. We don't think that the Germany international likes his new role very much, so he would likely be looking for a way out in the summer. If Woltemade wants to be Germany's long-term number 9, he would surely need to also be playing up top for his club, and if Newcastle cannot guarantee him that, he might have to leave. But it won't be so easy. The Magpies spent a fortune on him in the summer, making him the second most expensive player in their entire history. So, would they be willing to cut their losses after just 1 year? That's the big question, because we don't think that any club would be paying 75 million euros or more for him in the summer. A loan move could be a viable solution, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see exactly how this one plays out. There's yet another striker on this list, and it's Victor Osimhen, but with him it's a different case entirely. He's loved by Galatasaray and he plays in his preferred position week in, week out, but it feels like the player is now getting a little ambitious and looking to move to a bigger club as soon as possible. Last summer, the Nigerian striker became the most expensive player in Galatasaray's history after the Turkish giants paid 75 million euros to sign him permanently from Napoli after a season-long loan deal. But about halfway into the season, it became clear that Osimhen already had one eye on the exit door. He is being linked to top clubs around Europe like Barcelona, Juventus and Bayern Munich. And despite the fact that the Gala fans have shown him so much love, the former Napoli man seems to be flirting with the idea of leaving just 1 year after signing with them permanently. When he went up against Juventus in the playoff rounds of the Champions League this season, he showed so much respect and admiration for them that made people feel like he was actually considering a move. Osimhen turns 28 this year, and he would like to be playing for a top European club in his prime, so you can certainly understand the urgency. A thing or two can be said about his decision-making in recent years, but it's looking like he's trying to rectify it by making a big move in the summer. Considering how much Galatasaray paid for him just last summer, this might be a very tricky one, but it is surely not impossible, especially because there are a number of top clubs who will be willing to pay top dollar to get Osimhen. Now, from a former Napoli player, let's talk about a current one. Kevin De Bruyne might actually be on his way out of the club this year. He joined the Neapolitans last summer on a free transfer after leaving Manchester City, but it has not been the best season for him. The Belgian maestro missed more than 4 months of football due to injury, and you could say that his absence really hurt Napoli as they crashed out of the Champions League in the league phase and also crashed out of the Serie A title race. De Bruyne's injury record over the last couple years raises some red flags, and when you remember that he turns 35 this year, Napoli might be forced to make a big decision in the summer. Considering he is the club's highest earner, the club may be considering offloading him already if they feel like they can't rely on him. An easy solution would be to sell him to a Saudi or MLS club in the summer. Clubs in those parts of the world would be eager to get a legend like De Bruyne, and considering Napoli got him for free, they can't possibly lose here, so this might very well happen. Moving on, let us talk about Lucas Chevalier. He was bought by PSG in the summer to be the Donnarumma replacement, but things have taken an unexpected twist at the France capital. The 24-year-old has now lost his place to the backup goalkeeper Matvei Safonov, which could make him start to look for a way out. If Enrique has made up his mind about him, there might not be a way back in, so the best solution would be for him to leave. He might leave on loan or on a permanent deal, but we really do see him leaving in the summer. The player himself wants to be France's #1 in the short and long term, and sitting on the bench for the most part of the season surely won't help his case. So, except there's another crazy reverse twist before the end of the season, Lucas Chevalier might really be on his way out just 1 year into his 5-year contract. But this next guy is on his way out for a completely different reason. We're talking about Yandom Mande here. The 19-year-old winger moved to RB Leipzig last summer after the German club paid his €20 million release clause, but we really do see him saying goodbye to them once the summer comes around. His stocks have risen so much since he moved to Germany, which have caused him to be linked to a few top clubs. He has been directly involved in 18 goals in 27 appearances for Leipzig this season, and he has also broken some records, like becoming the second youngest player in Bundesliga history to score a hat-trick, and the youngest since 1965. Because of how much he has shown in his first season, Leipzig just might not be able to keep him in the summer. The likes of Man United and Liverpool are reportedly eyeing the youngster and are ready to put about €100 million on the table for him. What this means is that Leipzig could potentially turn an €80 million profit in just 1 year. We just don't see how they stop him from leaving. Another young player who belongs on this list is Tyler Dibbling. He moved to Everton from Southampton for €40 million last summer, but things have not panned out the way he hoped they would. He has started just 4 Premier League games all season and is clearly not one of Moyes' favourites. Looking at the current situation, Everton might be forced to sell him or at least send him out on loan in the summer. And Dibbling's situation could get a little worse because Everton are also looking at signing Osimhen, which would push Dibbling further down the pecking order. If that happens, then a departure for the former Southampton man would be almost certain. Now, are there more summer signings you think are already on their way out of their clubs? Where do you think they'll end up? Tell us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.
Hey Goal 90 family, what's good? The World Cup season is here and you already know the vibes on this channel. So for everyone who's been rocking with us, Goal 90 Shop has World Cup jerseys for the whole squad. Men, women and kids. Whatever country you're repping, we've got ya. Home kits, away kits, clean classics and the loud ones. Instant match day energy. And it's love from us. Free shipping worldwide. Grab yours now and let's run this tournament together.